Lunar Sabbath explained. What is Lunar Sabbath? Lunar Sabbath is the worship day ordained by the Creator that He placed on His calendar in the heavens. There is a luminary that regulates the appointed times, including the weekly Sabbath, and that's found in Genesis and Psalms and Leviticus, and here are those verses.
Genesis 1:14. Yahweh said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." Psalm 104:19. He appointed the moon for seasons, and the sun knows his going down. Leviticus 23:1-3. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, The feast of Yahweh, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, these are my feasts. 6 days you shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work on it. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings." Verse 3 lists the Sabbath as the first feast of Yahweh.
Scripture says the Sabbath is the 7th day of the Creator's week, and that is in the Ten Commandments, Exodus 28-11.
Exodus 28-11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your Elohim. In it you shall do no work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger, who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Does Genesis 1 tell of a signal or beacon on a 7-day cycle? Yes, it does. And that beacon is the moon, which enters a different phase approximately every 7 days before its renewal phase. The Hebrew word translated as signs is oath. That's from Strong's number 226. Oath means signal or beacon, like the lights on a lighthouse. These lights rotate or turn on and off.
Psalm 104:19. He appointed, that is Assoc in Hebrew, the moon for seasons. That's Strong's 26:13. Assoc is a primitive root to do or make in the broadest sense and widest application as follows: to accomplish, to advance, to appoint. Seasons here is moedim, Hebrew for feasts, set times, times appointed, etc. Scripture says that Elohim ordained the moon to regulate the Creator's holy appointed times, all of them including the holy Sabbath day.
And here's a good question. Have the Jews ever forgotten the Sabbath? Yes, they have. And this is what it says in Lamentations 2:6.
And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were a garden. He hath destroyed his places of assembly. Yahweh hath caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and hath despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. Every time Israel went into captivity or apostatized, they lost sight of the Sabbath.
Historical records show how the Jews have lost the observance of Sabbath. And here's the quote.
The new moon is still, and the Sabbath originally was dependent upon the lunar cycle. That under the heading of holidays in the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, page 410.
What Sabbath did Yeshua keep? Everyone agrees that the Messiah kept the right day for the Sabbath during his time on earth. The Jews of that day kept the right day as well because there was never any kind of disagreement on this during that time. Saturday, as we understand it, did not exist at the time of Israel and Yeshua's time on earth. Constantine changed the order of the planetary week to help the Jews adapt to Rome's new weekly cycle. At the same time, he elevated Sunday to be a worship day in 321 AD. Saturn Day, was the first day of the planetary week. Saturday was moved to the 7th day of the week, and Sunday was placed as the first day of the week.
The figure we see on the right here is a Roman calendar taken from a prominent position or placed prominently in the bath of Trajan in Rome. This bathhouse was built in 104 AD, and it shows the official Roman calendar. Saturday, or Day of Saturday, the day of Saturn, was the very first day of the week, not the 7th. As the god of agriculture, he can be seen in this preeminent position of importance, holding his symbol, a sickle. Next, on the 2nd day of the pagan planetary week, is seen the sun god with rays of light emanating from his head. Sunday was originally the 2nd day of the planetary week and was known as Deus Solis, that is, Day of the Sun. That from the Nashville, Tennessee Southern Publishing Association, 1972, pages 10 and 11.
Creation Sabbath is always on the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and 29th days of the Creator's month. The Creation Sabbath, or Lunar Sabbath, does not float. And here are some examples. The spring and fall feast. Sabbath is always on the 15th. Resurrection is on the 16th. Manna started the first day of the week on the 16th, and that makes Sabbath the day before it, the 15th. So here's a story example. Let's say we're both on a ship that's been fighting a storm for days before it sank. We'd not seen the sun or moon for days, or perhaps it was weeks. We were both unconscious when we washed up on the shore of a deserted island. Neither of us knew how long we'd been laying there in the surf. We would have no idea how to find the Sabbath. It would be easy, right? Just count to 7. But the sun is not on a 7-day cycle. Has man lost sight of time? Indeed, he has. We certainly have been blind to the changes man has made to Yah's calendar. The Roman Julian calendar began in 45 BC. The days of the week are listed as letters A through H. And the Roman Gregorian calendar is named after Pope Gregory XIII. Is a Roman calendar.
Genesis 1:14. And Yahweh says, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. Exodus 31:13. Speak thou unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my Sabbath they shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh that doth sanctify you. See that word sign there? That Hebrew word is oath. Ezekiel 20:20. And hallow my Sabbath, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. See that word sign there? Guess what Hebrew word that is? Oath, the same Hebrew word used in Genesis 1:14. Signs, seasons, days, and years. The weekly Sabbath is not only an appointed time, it is also a sign, an oath.
So has the Creator's Sabbath day been forgotten or changed?
Daniel 7:25. And he shall think to change times and laws. And let's look at that whole passage. Daniel 7:25. He shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and law. Then the saints shall be given into his hand for a time and times and a half a time.
Will we keep Sabbaths and new moon days in the new earth? Yes.
Isaiah 66:23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahuwah.
So for more information about the Creator's Sabbath, please go to the website lunarsabbathday.com. Thank you for listening, and please be very blessed in your studies about the Sabbath.